That fast blue hedgehog, Sega's mascot and rival to that fat fuck Italian plumber. What happened? Why did a character that rad fail? What if I told you it had nothing to do with the character but the industry changing around it? Today we talk about the top 10 reasons why the gaming industry hates Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic came out in 1991, which placed him firmly as a 90s kid, which is why you'd be hard-pressed to not find a 90s neckbeard that hasn't heard of him, let alone not completely infatuated. The problems with the 90s in general is that they were a niche for their time frame. Every well-established character went through a transformation, and original characters were created from the ground up with words edgy or cool in every concept sketch. Characters like Earthworm Jim, Crash Bandicoot, and Sonic the Hedgehog all played by no one else's rules but their own, and this mindset would make sure that they wouldn't make it out of the 90s alive. Sonic was created by a team of individuals that chose to go by the handle Sonic Team. They would exclusively make Sonic the Hedgehog games and are completely responsible for why we care about him at all. They made those games with love and a story to tell, with gameplay that was fun and addictive. With the original 3 games under the belt, no one can contest that the original Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy isn't why you still hold out for hope that there's a better Sonic game coming, as they still have replay value today over 2 decades later. But this is the first of a laundry list of reasons why Sonic will never ever catch up to his own speed. After the original game came out, Sega made a lot of money. Whenever money gets thrown around, people start deciding this and that. In this particular case, Sega had 2 different companies under the Sega Sammy banner. Sega of Japan, which created the original trilogy, and Sega of America, which created Sonic CD. This was the first split in the consistency with Sonic's timeline and gameplay mechanics. Sonic CD and Sonic 2 were intended to be the same game originally, but evolved into 2 entirely different animals with different characters, gameplay, and story. Sonic CD and Sonic 2 both had one thing in common, though. They both introduced the idea of companions. Sonic CD introduced Amy Rose as a love interest, and Sonic 2 introduced Tails as a young companion that could assist by flying. Amy Rose was more of a story element to push the limited function of storytelling in games back then, whereas Tails was an introduction to changing gameplay mechanics. It was received very well as he became a tradition through Sonic games, and they would go on to introduce a new companion in every incarnation of Sonic from that fucking moment forward. After the success of the original trilogy, the video game industry made a change to 3D from 2D. This was the first official nail in the coffin of the Fast Blue mascot. Games such as Sonic Labyrinth and 3D Blast were just the first. The Sonic Adventure series, although cult classics now, were terribly reviewed at the time, with additions of bad gameplay features, new physics to learn, and an alarming amount of new characters to get to know. It wasn't hard to see why. The fun, free feel of the originals had been lost, and at this point it would almost be impossible to pull out of this tailspin. You can't just introduce that many new things at once and expect people to be okay with it. Sega was now hemorrhaging money because of the Sega Saturn and Dreamcast failures, while at the same time still producing games for the original technology such as the flailing death throes of the 32X and CD. At the start of the 2000s, a full decade after Sonic was debuted, Sega was forced to throw Sonic out on third-party consoles, and the no longer edgy gaming industry had zero idea what to do with the character. The industry was now following a business model and only wanted safe games, games that would guarantee a return. For the next 5 years, Sonic would sit in obscurity with only Game Boy clones of the original series and Sonic racing games. As Sonic was hoarded out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that would pay Sega for the opportunity to use and abuse their mascot, each company had their own take on the character. Some companies changed names, other companies would try to reboot the character entirely, and others would create characters like Shadow the Hedgehog, who was more edgier and had a degree of angst that Sonic never had. A reboot in 2006 that really just pissed off everyone. It was absolutely clear that no one within the industry knew what to do with him. They knew he could make money. They just had to get him in the right outfit in the right street corner in order to make some. No matter which street corner they put Sonic on, he wasn't making the industry money. They tried all the old outfits and all the old tricks that they had picked up from a long career of whoring around, that they had spent a lot of money on Sonic, and he was going to make it back. The only way they could do that was by teaching him some new tricks. These new tricks were game mechanic changes. Mechanics like the homing system, which was a counterintuitive to Sonic's gameplay style, making him feel more like a rail shooter that had no real teeth. Sonic had hit a new low. He had turned from an edgy play-by-no-one-else's-rules hedgehog to a safe play-by-all-the-rules pet. He had become a poser. At an all-time low, there was no one to help him get back up until one day an old friend came by and met him on the street corner. Well, not so much friend as an old rival. Nintendo pulled Sonic in and gave him a shower and a good meal, and over the next few years, Sonic and Mario would team up to build up Sonic's reputation again. Game titles such as Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games, Super Smash Bros., Sonic Colors, and Generations were all the love letter to the fans that they have been waiting for. A return to the Sonic that people wanted, games by people that loved him, because who knows you better than your closest rival. After Nintendo built Sonic back up, the two decided that they should go back to doing what Sega had always done best: innovate. The Sonic of the 90s was just that. He was a 90s stereotype, a stereotype that everyone knew, and in order to get attention again, he needed a new change. Sonic actually rebooted with a series called Sonic Boom, with a matching TV show to boot. The neckbeards who grew up with this edgy Sonic were pissed because they were no longer going to get those cheap blowjobs in an alley from their famous Sega character. But the absolute delight is that a new generation is growing to love Sonic again. And I'm okay with it. Sonic will never be the same. He will never be my Sonic the Hedgehog again. But after all he's been through, he deserves to move on. And we as his fans need to let him move on. The industry that made him the whore of the video game characters has never known what to do with mascots. Sony, Microsoft, they don't even bother with them. Sonic belongs with the only company that has ever known what to truly do with mascots, and that's Nintendo, and it's okay. To quote Martha Jailbird Stewart, it's a good thing. Thanks guys for watching my video. If you liked what you heard, make sure you comment, subscribe, and share.